Very good morning, students. I'm here with the second module of the important questions from the same chapter that we discussed in the last class, demand and its determinants. So here I have again covered 3 more questions which you may be benefited from. So let's start with the first question. The first question is define price elasticity of demand. Explain how the following factors determine price elasticity of demand: existence of substitute goods, nature of commodity, and proportion of expenditure incurred in the household budget. Let's check the answer. The price elasticity of demand for a good is defined as the percentage change in the demand for the good divided by the percentage change in its price. Thus, the percentage method of calculating price elasticity of demand for a good is EP is equal to percentage change in the demand for the good by percentage change in the price of the good. I'm sure you have been taught about this, the percentage method. So this is how the elasticity of the demand is calculated in percentage. Now the first one, existence of substitute goods. The price of a commodity falls in relation to its substitute. Consumer can only switch from one good to another even if there is only a small change in the price, and hence its demand will increase. Hence, the price elasticity of demand for commodities having close substitute is relatively high. Means if you have a close substitute, only then you will switch and the substitute price will rise. The next is nature of commodity. Elasticity of demand for necessities of life such as food, grains, medicines, textbooks, edible oils, etc. is very low in comparison to luxury goods, where price elasticity will be high. The consumer will buy almost the same quantity of the necessary products per unit of time, whether its price is somewhat higher or lower. On the other hand, demand for luxury goods is elastic in nature. When prices of such commodities increases, some people may avoid purchasing them. Their demand will fall sharply and hence the elasticity of demand will be high. For example, the gold right now is very costly. So the people who are not in need of gold or who do not want to buy, they are not buying it because it is not a necessary thing. It is a luxury item. But yes, even if the price of a salt rises, person has to buy because that is the basic and one of the necessity items in the food. So this is what is the nature of commodity explains. The next is proportion of expenditure incurred in a household budget. Now here the consumer spends a very small part of his or her income on the purchase of matchboxes, needles to stitch, etc. Therefore, even a large change in their prices will not induce him or her to change his level of demand. But when we take commodities such as milk, clothes, etc. into considerations, where the consumer spends a considerable part of the income, people may cut the level of consumption and hence their demand will be elastic. Example is if we are buying the basic things like matchboxes and needles and salt, even if the price increases or decreases, the demand is negligibly affected. But the things like milk and clothes, if their price rise or if they are not available in the market, we can avoid them for a certain time or we can cut down on their consumptions. The next question is the price elasticity of demand for commodities having close substitutes is relatively high. State true or false and give reasons. Now this statement is absolutely true, and the reason is price of commodity falls in relation to its substitutes. Consumers can easily switch from one good to another even if there is only a small change in price, and so its demand will increase. So definitely if there is a price change in the substitutes, we go for the substitute and we will try to get the things in the much cheaper rate. The next is define joint demand. With the help of diagrams, explain the difference between individual demand and market demand. Now joint demand, people, this question has been also covered in the first module that I have sent, but again there it is a small question, the short question answer just for 2 marks, and here it is the 7 marks big question. So what you can do is you can actually go through this so that this is much beneficial and you can write that 2 marks answer while doing this also. So joint demand is when the demand for different complementary goods is created at one time, it is termed as joint demand. For example, the demand for computer hardware and software is created jointly. This was the example I gave in the last module as well. The individual demand curve is a curve showing in different quantities of commodity which one particular buyer is willing to buy at different possible prices of the commodity at a point of time. In the diagram, the quantity of commodity is given on the x-axis and the price on the y-axis. In the next slide, I have also shown the graph for the better understanding. So it's basically that individual demand is we consider about the individual product of the customer, what he is buying to, what he is willing to buy at a particular point of time. Now let's check the demand curve. Is the demand curve representing the individual demand schedule? You can see the demand curve. The demand curve slopes downwards from left to right, indicating an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. So you can see the price 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 and the quantity 2, 4, 6, 10, 16. So at 10 rupees he is getting the maximum benefits, 16 quantity, and at the rate of 30 rupees he is getting only 2 commodities. So the price matters. Next is the the market demand curve is the horizontal summation of individual demand curves. It indicates various quantities of commodities which all the consumers in the market are willing to buy at a different possible price of the commodity at a point of time. The diagram below shows that the market demand curve represents the market demand schedule assuming two consumers A and B in the market. The market demand curve also slopes downward, indicating an inverse relationship between the price and quantity demanded. So here we see the summation of all the individual demands, where all the individual demands are collaborated and then they are shown graphically. Now if you can see here, it said John's demand, Edward's demand is equal to market demand. So you can see the demand and the quantity, and then it is summated as a market demand. So guys, that's it in the video. Only 3 questions. Wait for the next video again where I'll be covering 3 more questions, because I don't want to exceed the time limit of the video more than the needed time. So just wait for the next video and keep going through the questions because it's important. You may be getting these questions very much. Thank you so much. Have a great day.